Air Assault. Hello, friends, and welcome to Shero Coffee Chat. We hope you've had a great week, and thank you for joining us today. We've got a full cup ahead, so grab your Shero coffee, because we're taking a spin around the Shero Resource Table. Plus, we've got your chat, tip, and guest of the week. Let's give a big shout out to our host, Melissa Farmer-Hill, Army Combat Veteran, host of Shero Coffee Chat, and founder of the Shero Coffee Club, where we keep the world caffeinated and women veterans celebrated. And now, reporting for duty and ready to lead the conversation, Melissa Farmer-Hill.
Air Assault! Well, good morning, friends, and welcome to the Shero Coffee Chat, where coffee meets conversation for our military and veteran communities. I hope you are having a great weekend. Yes, it's still wonderful out here in the beautiful, sunny, warm Gulf Shores, Alabama. So I hope you are celebrating and enjoying this weekend too. I just want to say thank you for joining us today. We've got our Shero coffee, right? And our Shero coffee cup in hand, and we are ready to get into today's show. Are you ready to get into today's show? Yes, so let's go. So I want to bring something new. I want you to check this out. I got to sit up a little because my screen doesn't allow that. You see that? United States Army 1918, since 1918, Kentucky, Fort Knox. Yes, I always rep a t-shirt of a military installation, and today I'm rocking my Fort Knox tee. It's home of HRC, the Human Resources Command. If you know, you know. Cadet Command, USAREC, United States Army Recruiting Command, which I was assigned to. Good times at the Recruiting Command. And it has a history of generations of armor soldier. And here's the fun fact. Fort Knox, yes, Fort Knox, holds about 147 million ounces of gold. And no one's ever broken in. I don't even think you could break in if you tried. And you know what? I don't care how many movies you see. You couldn't even break in if you tried, because it takes more than one person to get inside of that vault. And thank goodness, because it actually holds about 56%, from what I found, of America's gold reserve. That's big. Now I think Mr. T has the rest. Mr. T has the other half, for those of you who know who Mr. T is. But I digress, So now let's get into something that's really valuable. How about that? Okay. Let's talk about our Shero Resource Table. Now, at Shero Coffee Chat, we know that life is a journey, and that's not always easy, right? That's why we got to keep our heads, I say it every week, on a swivel. When it comes to helping our veterans and their families, there are over 16 million veterans out there, and none of us has all the answers. But together, we can definitely find solutions. The Shero Resource Table is really all about sharing information, resources, and programs, because when one of us wins, what happens? We all win. Yes. And today I'm handing out an early Christmas gift, okay, at the Shero Resource Table, but this is only for those who don't know. Have you noticed that there are a lot of places that have really cut back on military discounts, or they only offer them on certain days or certain times of the year? Have you noticed that? I definitely have noticed that. But I want to give you a few places that you can still kind of count on when it comes to giving a discount. So the first one is Lowe's and Home Depot. They honor veterans with 10% off all year long. I repeat, all year long, and not just on Veterans Day, but every day. But just keep in mind that you do have to sign up and verify online first, so once you're verified, the discount is in your account and you can use it every day. So that's one little tip. The second, Parks and Recreation. Oh, I don't know if you guys used to watch that show, Parks and Recreation. It was hilarious. I absolutely loved it. I still watch it from time to time, but Parks and Recreation around the U.S. So Every military veteran can get a free lifetime national parks pass. Did you know that? So parks that charge like a per vehicle interest and things like this, your veteran's lifetime pass will cover that. So you just bring your ID, or you can definitely order it online. Of course, there's a fee, and that's going to give you, I think it's like a $10 fee, and that's going to give you access to over 2,000 federal sites for the rest of your life. And I always say, serving the military, it's the gift that keeps on giving. I really appreciate it. And then lastly, for those of you who have separated within the last year, I don't want you to miss this, because you can get your taxes done for free. Yes, free 99 through meal tax. And that's at militaryOneSource.mil. That's militaryOneSource.mil. And I think that's one of the best benefits you can get, coming out of the military. Okay, that's one less thing you have to worry about. So there you go. An early Christmas gift from the Shero Coffee Chat. So I say this to all my veterans: definitely let's start identifying, spreading the word on places that support us through discounts and different things like that. And I think it's a good way when we do support that we say thank you. And it's definitely a way that we can keep those benefits and discounts going. All right. And now we're going to move right on in, because I am not wasting any time today. We are going to move right on in to our chat of the week. I had to take a sip for that. Medium roast today. You can get it at sherocoffee.com. But our chat of the week. Now, if you have not seen this, you have definitely been living off the grid. Our National Guard is showing up in major cities all across America. I'm not here to tell you where they should or shouldn't be, or what they should or shouldn't be doing, but this is what's happening in real time. But a lot of people are asking the same question. Is this protection? Is it actual protection, or is it politics? So before I say anything else, what I first want to do is acknowledge the hard work that these men and women are doing every single day, whether they're supporting communities in crisis or they're just standing for long hours at the border. They're stepping into situations most of you will never see, and they deserve that respect. Can you imagine? You're just working on your job, and then you get alerted. You get notified. All right, we're moving in a week or 2 weeks or a month or whatever. That is big to be able to uproot yourself. So a salute to our National Guard out there that are out there doing their thing. Now, like I said, the big question is whether the National Guard, they're out there. And we respect that and we honor that. But are they really making an actual difference? Or is it mostly like, a show of force? And I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. In cities like Memphis, right? Once the deployment started, they saw a sharp drop in crime. Serious crime. And that went down to about 46%. And then the robberies and the car thefts dropped by like 70% during some instances, some periods of time. That's huge. That's huge for a city, a major city, a major urban city. If you live in Memphis, that feels like a major shift, because the city was definitely dealing with high levels of violence before this, right? But then when you compare that to DC, it's kind of like a different picture. Crime in DC was already trending down. Break-ins, car thefts, violent incidents. They were already falling before the federal help arrived. So the change in DC isn't as dramatic because they were already heading in the right direction. I think just it helped them to get there faster. And I think that's why the numbers in Memphis stand out, because when a city's been struggling and suddenly sees a crime drop almost in half, that's something you that's something that feels real, right? It's not just on a chart. It's something that you can actually experience in your community. And just as we think about it, just think about Chicago, right? Where the mom and her children were attacked right outside of their school. She was just trying to, walk her babies home, and it was not safe in her own community. When it gets that bad, you don't care who's protecting you, right? When it gets that bad. But thankfully, and thank God that the community came together afterward in support of her family, which is a good thing. But what about the next crime on the next day? What's the long-term solution? That's one thing I wonder about. And then moments like this, it just reminds us that safety matters, and families want support. They want support that they can actually get. They don't just want to debate on social media, because when you're living through that experience, it hits different, right? Or when you know somebody that's in that experience, it hits different. And then, going back to the deployment at the same time, part of any deployment, it can be considered a show of force. And when you have a show of force, that's definitely intentional. Seeing troops on the ground, soldiers on the ground, it sends a message that, attention is being paid, and whatever this situation is, it matters. For some neighbors, that might be a relief. And for others, it might raise questions. What are you doing here? But the point is definitely a show of force is a strong visual presence, and it can shift behavior almost immediately. And that in and of itself doesn't make it fake. It means the guards, the National Guards, have two jobs to do. They have to provide support, and they're sending a message. And so where things get a little complicated is, like I said, in the Chicago situation. What's the long-term impact? This one woman and her family was saved, but what's the plan? This weekend alone, 2 people killed, 19 wounded. The guards, they can potentially stop the bleeding, but they can't heal the wound. And those wounds are wounds of poverty. It's mental health. It's housing. It's job access. It's parental accountability and broken trust. Don't forget about that broken trust between the police and the residents. These are long-term issues that need long-term solutions. And that work doesn't fall on the National Guard. And as good of a job as they do, it doesn't fall on them. It takes city leaders, it takes police, it takes community organizations, it takes school, it takes mental health providers, and everyday residents, people like me, people like you, working together. And one thing is for sure, change is possible. And you know how I know? Because in cities like New York and Boston, they have already proven those things. Did you know that New York cut murders by more than 80% when they focused on repeat offenders and investing in prevention? And then Boston, they had this program called Operation Ceasefire, and that cut youth killings almost in half. Basically, by focusing on those small groups that were causing the most violence. Let me take a sip, because there's a lot of work out there that needs to be done, right? Especially in today's times. But here is the bottom line for me. If you live in a community where crime is high, where families don't feel safe, where businesses are struggling, you're not thinking about politics. You just want help, right? And in those moments, seeing the guardsmen show up could feel like relief. And maybe not something we should be debating over. You can do whatever you want. But like I said, when it's real time and when it's happening to you, you don't care who shows up. And even if that National Guard presence, if that impact isn't permanent, that sense of safety matters, right? It matters right in that moment. It matters right now. I just think, everyone deserves to be safe in their own neighborhoods and not just in the more affluent communities that you see where crime is relatively, well, definitely lower than in impoverished neighborhoods. So let me know what you think. I had to address that. It was important to me. I hope that it's important to you as well. That it just gives you food for thought, fodder for debate, something to think about. And that is the chat of the week. And now I'm going to roll into our tip of the week, right? I've been talking about Christmas a lot lately, and I'm not done, you guys. I'm not done talking about Christmas. It's Christmas again in our tip of the week. Now, right now it's too late, okay? It's really too late to shop off season for this year, but let me give you a little heads up for next year so you can start to plan and save for next year, okay? Now, you don't have to wait until next November or next December when you're scrambling for gifts. Even some of you right now might be scrambling to try to figure out, just give a gift card. That's always my go-to because I'm always one of those last minute shoppers. And that's why I'm talking about this. So we don't have to wait until next November and December when we're scrambling for those gifts in order to make a change, right? So I am going to commit to you right now to retrain my brain. It's all about retraining the things that you do, right? To do things a little different when it comes to these Christmas gifts for next year, okay? So I'm going to invite you to do the same if that's what you want to do. So here's the plan. So right after Christmas this year, we both know that the store markdowns are going to be deep, right? So that's a good opportunity for me to start getting gifts for next year. And then don't forget when spring and summer, those spring and summer sales hit, you can save even more. If we talk about electronics, next September during back to school, when you can get the electronics and home good stuff, when people go back to school, back to college, and things like that. Those things, the electronics are generally on sale. And if you love someone enough to get them a whole car, I think September and October are the best months for car purchases. I know there was a time where September and October were the best times. I think it still remains so. The best months for car purchases for the year. And I think that's it. I think that's it. That's all we're gonna do, right? So another thing is like, okay, here I am lingering on. Okay, I'm about to babble now, right? But no, I know how that shopping season feels. It feels magical, right? And it's why we wind up definitely spending more money. I think you got the holiday lights, you got the magic, you got the energy. It is so much fun. But I think just shopping early, getting it out the way, you may be able to enjoy next holiday season anymore. I know your wallet will definitely thank you. If you buy things in the off season instead of getting pulled into that Christmas shopping season hype. And if you still want to save this year, you don't forget there's Black Friday coming up. There's Small Business Saturday, and it's also Cyber Monday. So there's still time for you to save this year. All right. So that is your tip of the week. Let's start shopping in January after Christmas for next year. Let's retrain our brain and commit to doing that. All right. And now for my favorite part of the show. You guys know I absolutely love this. It's our guest of the week. Vernessa Henderson is an artificial intelligence consultant, transformational mindset coach, and speaker. She's dedicated to helping individuals create the life they desire without burning out and overwhelm by becoming aware. Ooh, that's deep. Then overcoming their limiting thoughts, as well as utilizing AI to streamline or skyrocket their business. She is the CEO of One Shift Mastery, Intelligent Systems and Leadership for AI enabled organizations. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Miss Vernessa Henderson. Hey, Vernessa.
Hello, hello.
I gotta do this. I'm still learning. I'm still learning. I need that. This just tells me I need to spend more time on this board. But I definitely want to give you, and Andre, if you're listening, you could be here. You could be here. Oh, I had it, but okay, here it is.
Okay. Yeah.
Welcome to Shero Coffee Chat. As you guys know, Vernessa is no stranger in being interviewed by me. We've gone through a couple of iterations of this type of show, Farming Hill, contemporary living, and things like that. She was always about transformation and mindset. She is a very dear person. She is just an awesome human being. And I am so glad that you're coming back, but you're coming back in a big way
Yes.
because, Vernessa, this is a huge topic. All right. And so I really want to get into it. Okay. So you started off as a transformational coach. What pushed you into doing AI? But first, let the audience know what a transformational coach is.
Perfect, perfect. And thank you. Thank you for that awesome introduction. And yeah, transformational coaching is really helping you become aware of who you are. That's first and foremost because you may see or experience things over and over again, and you probably have asked yourself, why me? Why does this continue to happen to me? It's because you're not being, and just bluntly, you're not being your authentic self. And then I've noticed that when I tell clients that, they don't understand because they're not self-aware. They're not aware of who they are. They have been the person for everyone else all their lives, whether it's in the military, where in your home, at work. You've been a person for someone else. You don't know what you like. You don't know what you enjoy, what will impact you in a great way. So what I do is self-awareness. We have fears that we're not even familiar with. We don't realize that these are things that we're creating and we have never experienced. So we live in that world, which is like a box. And what I do is I come and you're in the box. You don't see what you have done. You don't see that you put up windows, curtains. You made it look so elaborate. You don't realize it's still a box. And I'm that person to come to and come and let you know that yeah, it is a box and there's so much more outside of that box. So that's what I look at when I think of transformational coaching.
Oh wow, I absolutely love it. So the Shero, I don't know if you know, but Shero is an acronym, and the first letter is S, and that first letter is self-awareness. And you have
Mm.
to be self-aware because, like you said, sometimes you definitely need a coach because you can't see yourself if you're in that picture. If you're in the frame of that picture, you're not outside looking at it. But I think self-awareness guides you and helps you, and especially if you have coaching like the coaching that you do, it guides you to understanding how to look at that picture and evolve and grow. But now let's get into AI.
Mhm.
Now, what gave you the mindset to, if I combine this with this?
I personally enjoy AI. I love transformation, just changing things up. And so what I've realized is that people are doing the same thing over and over again, and you become conditioned. It's a habit. I was creating notes. I was creating a social media post, and I had all these ideas, and I'm just writing and just going through the motion. And when I put all those ideas into AI, it streamlined it for me. I was like, whoa, I like this. And then I love just interacting with it. I had a night, I just really enjoyed that part. And I had someone, a potential client prior to this, come and talk to me about it. He works a clinic. He's a doctor. He has a clinic, and he was talking about, I have to answer these emails, the things that I have to do, transcribe the conversation, then I need to respond to it, and I need to follow up, put it on my calendar, all the steps. And I realized AI could be your knight in shining armor. It could help you streamline that process, that workflow, make it easier. And so I started working with it, going down. This was a great rabbit hole I went down because I wanted to understand it. I wanted to understand it. And it's interesting because sometimes we remain at the bottom with the water just pouring down on us. The information is just pouring down on us, as opposed to going upstream and see what is it that's going on. What can I do differently? Let me take a look at how this could be beneficial for me, because it's not going anywhere. And that's what I did. I went upstream, figured out what it is, how it could benefit my clients and myself, and incorporated it into what I do now.
I absolutely love that. And as you know, we talked, I definitely use a lot of AI to streamline my processes. Andre does it for real estate. He's really into it, creating bots and things that can operate and serve as tools to support you. So I'm all for it. As a matter of fact, the intro is AI what I created. I'm just playing with it right now, but I created that commercial from AI. But what do you tell people who are just afraid? The reason I say, now I'm starting to think about my grandmother. So my grandmother, for a long time, she didn't, well, she still doesn't. She is not a person that will pay her bills online because she doesn't want her information shared. Well, one day I was over and I was like, you don't pay your bills online, but yet look, I just pulled up your name, your address, your telephone number. So it's inevitable that we will evolve to different things like this. So what is something, what are, when people say they're afraid of AI, what do you tell them?
And it's interesting that you bring up your grandmother, because that is exactly what I tell them. Your information is already out there. When you use, someone mentioned about Chat GPT and the security. Don't tell Chat GPT anything that you want post on Facebook, or you don't want to tell a close friend. If that's how you feel, use it based on your feelings, your needs. And that's okay. But don't avoid it because it's there. Figure out what's your needs and just start there. Don't, because if you have a fear of something, there's always going to be an evolution. Something is going to change. We're always evolving. When the computers came out, when the phones came out, people were afraid, oh, they're going to take jobs. It's not the technology that's taking jobs. It's the person who takes the time to understand it. They are the ones that will replace you. You need to make sure you are not letting fear, the unknown, control your decision. Figure out
Right.
how it could benefit you. If you don't want it to know certain information, don't put it in there. But be realistic and look at, on a grand scheme of things, that your information is out there. But just do it responsibly. I'm not going to put my bank account out there.
Right.
Certain things I'm not going to put out there. I'm going to make sure my security, my settings are in place for Chat GPT or whatever whichever tool you use, but don't allow fear, the unknown, something that you just you probably hear others saying, stop you from learning the inevitable. It's here and it's going to be here. And that's what I tell people, especially when I see that there's a bottleneck in what they're doing and this could fix it. Or I see people have a joy of creativity and they could do something like, you know, someone build an app, and I'm working with them, an app that will help you to create photos for your social media, enjoy life, and it's they're bringing in an income.
Right.
They are, so if you say I don't want to do that, there's someone else is doing it. So because you say you don't want to do it doesn't mean that it's going to stop. There's someone who's creating videos. There's someone who's creating workflows for people,
Right.
creating bots. So your fear, make sure your fear is real. Make sure you understand why you're holding that onto that fear. And this is self-awareness. It's being
Yeah.
aware that you probably do this with other things that are introduced to our society.
Now I know that there is some real fear when you look at it. Some valid fear, I guess you could say. I don't know how you I want to phrase that, but so for about every 75 years, roughly half of all the jobs disappear or evolve because of new technology. We have farming to machinery. We got switchboard operators to smartphones. We've got, travel agents. Now we've got online booking, factory workers, robotics. We got a lot of that stuff going on. So how do you feel, or what would you tell the person that knows that they're part of that wave that's coming in to be replaced, for replacement? And even more important, what do you think should happen, for those whose jobs get disrupted?
You, and it's interesting, even the beginning of, you asking me that question, it is, so when you name all the things that have changed over the 75 years or longer, that makes it, you question, is it a valid fear? No, because we are going to keep changing. That's growth. That's what it's called, really. It's growth. It's inevitable. We are going to grow. And figure out where you want to place yourself in that process, because we are going to continue to grow regardless. And if you feel that AI can take your job, prepare yourself. I highly encourage you to prepare yourself. Figure out what you can do differently, and please don't make age a factor. Please do not come up with these factors. There's a lady that's teaching AI, and she's 75 years old, and she's doing an amazing job. She
Awesome.
is she Girls, tilt your heads. I forgot the name of her book, but there's so well, she that's another woman. But these are women that are older, and they know that change is inevitable, but personal growth is a choice.
Grow or die.
Yes, yes. It's no in between. It is really no in between. So
Right.
you have to, what are you nurturing your soil? How are you nurturing it? You
Yeah.
have to you have to prepare yourself. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to investigate. You have everything you need. You just have to trust that.
I love that. So here I am with another one. Look.
Okay, I'm ready.
so so AI is, they're making decisions that we used to make. So do you, like, I think I asked you this already, but do you really think we're becoming too reliant on technology? Because I know when I leave this, it's like, oh, I gotta drive back. Like I'm like, we are so reliant on our phones now. Do you think AI is the same way?
It depends on the person, and there are different people no matter what. If you, like you said, if you leave your phone, my sister turned around and went back to get her phone, and took her an hour to turn around. So that means she had tacked on 2 hours on her travels. For me, if I leave my phone, I'm thinking, what do I need? If I need my calendar, I can pull it up when I get there. So, but I trained myself to do that. Yes, we are going to rely on technology. We're definitely going to rely on technology. Anything that we do, we use often, we're definitely going to rely on it. Some people rely on it too much. Some people rely on television too much. Some people, remember there was days people would come home from work, they sit down in front of the television. They wake up in the morning with the television on. There's still people like that. They rely on that. They feel uncomfortable. It's a pull. They need to see what's going on. Trust me, things are still going to happen even if you see it or not. You so we everyone has that, within them. You just need to know what is it you're going to rely on and why. You definitely need to know. And if it's benefiting you or not, those are like really, really important things you have to ask yourself.
Mhm.
That's why I incorporated AI with transformative thinking. That's why my mindset, my coaching is not removed from the equation, because if you are doing something in a certain way, AI is going to amplify that. But what if you're not doing what you need to do to help you grow, to help you maintain a healthy,
Right.
mindset? AI is going to amplify whatever you're currently doing. It is a tool. So you can mistreat any tool.
Yeah, and so I think I was telling you about that Sam Altman. So
Mhm.
he's the founder of the Open AI, and he was interviewed by Carlson, and just it was just an interesting interview. And if you guys want to watch it, I'll put a link down to connect that. But this technology, like you said, is not going anywhere. And mindset, like I love your combination. Mindset is key. It's how do I look at this? How do I
Mhm.
use this to my advantage? What are the steps or what are the skill sets I need to learn in order to grow and evolve and make my business better or make my life better with
Right.
these things? And like you said, it just like the internet, we use it for a great amount of wonderful things, but there's
Hmm.
also a dark web.
Yes.
So whatever is created, you're gonna get the good, the bad, and the in between
Right.
of all of that. So we had a question, and she. I'm just trying to think of the question. So the question was around, what is AI looking at when it looks at data and things like that, and what is that?
Mm.
What is all that for?
Okay. Yeah. And you know what? And before I move to that question, I really like what you were saying. There is no success without failure. People want to avoid failure. They're on the same playing field. You have to go, it's no success without failure. So when you're looking at the positive, even with eating, with eating, we can overindulge ourselves in anything. You just need to be mindful enough to know this is my limit here.
Mm-hmm.
This is not serving me.
Right.
So where do you draw the line? And if you have not trained yourself, if that is not your focus, then you don't realize that you're doing it. You're still living in your same box.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, and that's why I love the coaching, because I people have million-dollar ideas. I am a high impact growth coach for a reason. I want you to see your million-dollar idea.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not resonating with it, if you're not on that frequency, it's all a dream. It's
Right.
all a distant vision. I want to elevate you so you could be on that frequency, so you could walk with confidence. You know that this is me. My bank account may not show it yet, but
Right.
this is where when I get up in the morning, I'm grateful for the impact that I've placed on lives. I'm
Yeah.
grateful for the things that I've done. I know that my goal is to leave a person with an impression of increase. I want you to know that. And when you talk and going to your question
Mm-hmm.
about Chat GPT, it or any tool, Claude, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They're gonna they have been created based off of data dump. You have the books, you have the internet, you have all that. So it's it has that in there. So that's one portion that you know that you're going to get a response or results from. The others is your response. How are you responding to it?
Yeah.
So, some people turn that setting off. They don't want to help train Chat GPT.
Mm-hmm.
So how are the data that you're putting in there? It is so it's three components. It goes by the information that's already input, like books, and they even use reports that has been
Yeah.
dumped in there, all the stuff that's been dumped in there. Then the questions that it received, that's placed in there, and the response, that's placed in there. So it's all that is a combination of how it's constantly forming.
Mm-hmm. Uh, I love that. So it's what the module is trained to do, like the books and the
Correct. The
articles.
art.
Then
Yes.
it's what we give it when we
Yes.
do our prompts.
Yeah.
And then
The
I guess,
questions we ask and all that.
yeah. And then it's just a matter of going back and redoing it and
Yeah.
tweaking and
Yes.
things like that. That's like with any model. Um,
And it's
yeah,
also like if you send out a survey, your survey, if you send a survey out and ask questions, you're going to have your questions,
yeah,
their response, and what is it teaching you now? Now you're going to say, I'm not going to do that again. Let me give more of this. So it's the feedback. It's like the feedback. So it's like three different areas, and that's how it's created.
I absolutely love it. And so now, so it's so funny. I really want to get into that mindset and how, and like you were talking about frequency and energy, all of that stuff. It does matter. A lot of people, when you think about it, they say, I can't, I can't, I can't. But the thing about it is, if you look in your life, and I guess we're going to get into the coaching part, but if you look at your life and you are doing and you are seeing the things that you are doing that's not serving you, but you
Hmm.
do them anyway,
Hmm.
you're an expert at that. So now it's just a matter of flipping the switch. And that stuff that you're doing that you don't really want to do
Yeah.
is do something that serves you.
Yes.
And that's the frequency. That's how you get on that frequency. Because
Yeah.
we always put ourselves down. I'm not
Yes.
this and I can and all of that. But you are excellent at what you do every day, whether that be overeating,
It is.
whether that be not,
Hmm.
spending too much. You are excellent at those things,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So in order to change like the frequency and the energy, you just kind of got to reverse all of that and look
Mhm.
at it in a different way. It's not easy. I'm not saying you just, but I guess it's as easy
it's
as you make it.
it depends on the value you place on it.
Yeah.
It's interesting because right, if I get up in the morning, I'm an early riser. I know you know that I'm an early riser.
Right.
I get
Same
up
here.
early. So if I get up at just say if I got up at 5, and if I get up at 5 and I have to do so many things, I have my schedule at 5, but I want to do something additional to that. And I'll say 6 because I guess that's the maybe the average time.
Mhm.
If I got up at 6 and I got up at 6 and I have my schedule, but I know I need to learn more. I need to do more. I need to spend
Right.
more time with me because mindset, taking the time for yourself is really key. Then I'm gonna get up at 5:30.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get up at 5:30 and start spending time
Yeah.
with myself. I love spending a quiet time with myself. And now I started doing. It's interesting, but I'll bathe in the morning. I'm about to retire from the military, so things are changing now. So it's
Uh,
great. If I want to see a change, I need to be willing to change. And
yeah.
that's what a lot of people, and like you said, you are an expert in what you do now. And
Right.
trust that you can be an expert in things that's not serving you.
Right.
But if you can make the decision to do those things, you can make the decision to do something different. What
Absolutely.
can you replace? What can you replace at that time? What can you add to it? If I'm always getting up in the morning and I have something that's not serving my body, how about I add something, greens or vegetables? I know a lot of people go for fruit, but sometimes that may elevate your blood, your heart rate. Then go for something that you enjoy that's green. It doesn't have to be waffles and eggs and meat all the time. Just do something different. If you get up in the morning and you want to go for a walk, go for a walk. If you want to read that book, just just make small changes.
Yeah.
Like I said, I want impactful changes. That's
Yeah.
what you're looking for. You're looking for things, and then you're going to start feeling good. You're going to be happy with yourself.
Yeah.
Keeping a commitment to yourself is the most honorable thing you can do. A
Oh,
commitment to yourself.
I love it. Yeah, that is the most honorable thing you can do, and that's how you grow in confidence and all of those other things
Yes.
too.
Mhm.
And so we're like 46 minutes in. So tell me what have you got in the works? What's next for you? I've been ever since you've come on. I've been streaming your information is across the ticker. You can just go to Facebook and find Vernessa. But yeah, what's next? What you got? What do you have next? And tell us like about your next program or your projects. What's coming up?
So my next project is going to do, actually I'm going to do a AI. I'm going to incorporate AI in my transformative thinking. I'm going to do it for 90 minutes, and actually I set the date, and I'm going to say it's December 4th. I'm going to confirm that date. I don't have turn my
Okay,
phone off, but
but we can go to
I
your
am going to,
Facebook page
yes,
and find
and
the
you will
information.
see it.
Okay,
Or if you have any questions, you can message me on Facebook.
yeah,
Any questions you have, message me on Facebook. But what I want to do is I want to elevate, I want to help people to elevate where they know they belong. I want you to create the life that you desire by showing you it's possible. And I've included AI because some people love AI. I want to show you that there's opportunities that you can take advantage of right now. Multiple sources of income is
yeah.
something that you could add
Oh
to
wow.
what you're doing and have that additional income coming in. So that's what I'm working on now. I still have my coaching, I still have my 6 month program, my 6 month container, and that's still ongoing. And I'm loving that. I am moving more to corporations, businesses now, but I still have that going. So that's my next thing. And make sure you join that. It's 90 minutes. It's going to be fun. We're going to play with a little AI, but I want you to come with an attitude of abundance. I want you to know that you can prosper. I want you to see what's possible for you. And those ideas that's going on in your head, it's possible because you wouldn't have them if it wasn't.
Absolutely. So, Vernessa, we definitely want you to come on next year, 2026. Give us some
Yes.
updates. Let us know what you got going on. After this, you guys, I'm just going to give my final take on today. And that is it. Vernessa, thank you so much for just showing up. You guys, make sure you go to her Facebook page, find out what she's doing, find out what you can be a part of. Don't be afraid. Don't be
Yes.
afraid. Don't be
Yes.
afraid.
Yes.
But all right, Vernessa, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Have an amazing day.
All right, you too. Thank you. All right, you guys, that was Vernessa. That was very powerful. And I'm just going to give my personal take on it. As long as humans are involved, AI will continue to have value, but it will also be flawed. It will be biased and it will be open to corruption. Those are some of the things we talked about today, right? So we can use it as a tool, but like Vernessa said, you can't give it all of your trust, right? We still have to stay awake. We have to know what we want to feed it and stay aware. And, most importantly, just stay in control. And let me be absolutely clear. AI is not God. AI is not perfect. AI is not all knowing. It reflects the people who designed it, flaws and all. You have no choice if you want to move forward, but to embrace it. Find out more, just a little bit at a time, however much you can take. And that has been it for me. And that's it for this week. Next week, you'll have me and me only. We're going to talk about some things, especially as we gear up toward 2026. And we're already claiming it to be an amazing year. Just for the Shero ambassadors and the T champions, our theme is dream big, it's attainable. And so that's what I'm going to be getting into next week. So thank you for watching. And as always, keep your heart strong and your coffee Shero. I will definitely see you next week. Have a great week.
Hey there, thank you so much for hanging out with us on this week's Shero Coffee Chat. Don't forget, smash that subscribe button so you never miss what's coming next. And hey, make sure your weekday begins with Shero Coffee, where we keep the world caffeinated and women veterans celebrated. You can visit us at sherocoffee.com. We'll see you next week right here on Shero Coffee Chat and have a blessed week.